he's running around, but she's like the queen is cool with it, or the whatever her name is, because she doesn't want to peg him. She's a lady.
Well, and here's the thing too, like who's shocked around? Who's shocked that white Englishman likes things in his butthole? That's not a surprise. Are we surprised by that?
I would imagine that it's like, it's hard to ignore the clear Freudian connection between a family that for centuries has fucked the rest of the world in the butt, that maybe one of their scions and future leaders likes to get fucked in the butt.
Hey, Harry gets it too. Harry also likes a little rouse around the bum. So I don't care what anyone says.
Apparently, the reason that he and William's relationship soured so hard was because
of the affair.
And he was like, when you cheat on your wife, she dies in a tunnel in France. Everyone knows that that's what happens.
I've known about this forever. Like, why is this I feel like when it hit the news cycle, I was like, wait, did I have a hot tip? Did I know about? Look, Diana didn't get it right. All right. She should have known that because of Diana, there will never be another princess or another queen that's going to go through that shit, because William's wife is like, fine, do you want it up your poop chute? Cool, that's fine. I don't care. I'm gonna live in this palace. All right, I'm gonna live my life, and it's gonna be fine. But listen, don't you be mean to me, and don't you embarrass me. And I think it's always gonna be the royal men who blow that up, who will always 100%. Be the ones who drop it.
100%. And I do, it's like, I imagine like a lot of couples, should have that agreement. And the one thing is like, don't be messy enough to get your we don't want your pegger running her mouth outside of the fucking, dungeon walls or wherever the fuck you do your dirty deed, you dirty king.
Yeah, you little perv, you little dandy perv. Oh, you like it, you little booty, do you, little perv? I want to think it's a man. Fucking him. He's not the hottest one anymore, so I don't care what he does with his butt.
Though, so hot. Now even Harry is losing his luster.
You know what? I'd still fuck Harry, and I don't even like the gingies. You know what I mean? There's something about him. There's something about when you drop everything. You know what I mean? Like there's, it's the
he's free. He's free.
It's the girl who used to read the Felipe Gregory Tudor romance novels. That it's like, oh, finally, one of those incest-ridden hunks left all of that nastiness and didn't kill his wife.
Yeah. You not so great up top anymore, but he's still got that big old incest dick.
Yeah. You get it.
The brain is small, but the dick is ginormous.
I mean, yeah.
The crown jewel.
Mutation. That's where it hits you. No, if they had bigger dicks, they wouldn't need their butts fucked so much. You know what I mean? Like I feel like the ancestral royals have taken it. I feel like there's a lot of shrinkage down there. I feel like it's all foreskin, little girth.
Well, they're British. The British aren't exactly known for their giant cocks. It's all half foreskin anyway. But
pale, not even pink, like just white.
We don't know what we don't.
I fucked a few British people. I know they're pink or they're white. They're not even. They look like unhealthy dicks. You know what I mean? They look like
they've been drinking. They've been drinking for thousands of years.
They look like the introverted dicks that don't leave their house. They just play video games all day.
Well, it's rainy.
Well, now they're gonna have proper heat, so they're gonna learn. 105 degrees.
Maybe their dicks will get tanner and like Mediterranean all of a sudden.
You're getting that summer, you bitches.
That nice, big, sweaty Italian dick.
All right. Well, on that note, would you like to do a show?
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Gay Power Half Hour. And with only 100 seconds left to midnight on the doomsday clock, we know you could listen to anything, and you choose us. And for that, we thank you. I'm Tony Soto.
And I'm Casey Lai.
And we're here. 100 seconds. I fucking Googled that today for some reason because I had a bad dream. 100 seconds left until doomsday.
Yeah, but that's not a real clock, right?
It's a real clock. See, this is the thing. This is what's wrong with this world. We look at it like it's not a real clock, like it's a metaphorical clock. But we're not making steps. Okay, fine, Casey. Fake clock. I'll give it to you. Fake clock. All right, I get it. It's all to send a message. But here's the thing: we are rushing that fake clock ahead, regardless.
It does seem to be picking up the pace. Has it ever been below 2 minutes, 120 seconds? I don't know. We don't know. You don't know. It's not real.
I truly don't know. I remember that there was like a brief craze, I think in the 2000s or whatever, where we talked about the doomsday clock. Probably during the Bush era. We're like, we're all gonna die.
I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't really paying attention because I realized for a second that we had been recording on YouTube before we started the show, and as a result, I had kind of forgot that we were doing that. And so,
did you have to remember if you said anything?
I was worrying for a second that I was saying anything offensive, and I think the worst thing that was said was you said something about gingies. I realized that I was okay. So.
Yeah, but that was about ginger people, so that's fine, right? Like, I mean, listen, they're the only ones who aren't picketing these days. You can't say anything.
Yeah, we were talking about Prince Harry. We were really engaged in a conversation about whether or not the future king of England gets pegged in his butt by a mistress, and then
if we wouldn't care about this, like. I mean, like, granted, don't get me wrong, as someone who knew about the tea. So if you're just tuning in, the tea about Prince Williams, the future heir and king of England, Inglaterra in Espanol.
And as he was known in his youth, the hot one.
Yeah.
The future king.
Yeah. It has come out that allegedly he might have had affairs that involved him getting pegged. Now, pegged is what we say when heterosexual men get fucked in the butt, because if we said fucked in the butt, that sounds too gay.
Does getting pegged get you in line faster for the monkeypox, or so it's not getting fucked in the butt by a man?
Then instead to get it, because I'll do it. Just tell me, point me to the nearest dildo that I need to sit on. Here, I'll rub up against a dodgy looking homosexual at a club for just a little shot. Jesus. Yeah.
Well, get gonorrhea like everyone else, and then you can be first in line.
All I need is that rectal gonorrhea. Yeah. Jesus, who knew?
You should put that on Grindr. Seeking gonorrhea so I can get the monkeypox vaccine. Gross. What would come to? Yeah.
But the thing is that the future queen, I don't know her name. What is her name?
I should know it.
Not Megan. Not
Megan.
She allegedly
Kate.
That's right. Yeah. Kate Middleton. Kate may have already had knowledge of the peggings, but she's fine because she doesn't want to be the pegger.
I feel like the future queen of England shouldn't be forced to peg anyone.
I think that the future queen of England should want to. You know what I mean? I think that. Here's the thing. Like, and this is to you, William, you messy boy. Like, do what you want, honey. No one's questioning you. But like, you do know that like your mama died because of lack of respect for her and what she does. And her choosing to leave and whatnot. So it's like, you need to be nicer to your fucking wife. Like, that's the thing. I'm like, this should have never got out. I was saying before we recorded it, it's always going to be the royal men who embarrass the ladies, because the ladies are just trying to live.
The ladies are just trying to live. And it is a good point that you would think that Kate should want to do it, because like, then the real power literally behind the throne would be Kate with a dildo strapped on.
I mean, how hot is that?
What power?
And then it's like, and then you don't have to. And I mean, obviously, well, unless you don't want to fuck your husband. See, this is the thing too. It's like you got to think about like what her motives were to become the future queen. Yeah. Like, was it truly love? Because the thing is they were off and on. They were off and on. If you remember right, during their courting time, like they got together and they broke up a few times.
Yeah.
And so, to me, that seemed like there was failed negotiations. And finally, they got to a point where the negotiations were there. And what you should have done, William, is you should have put a little addendum in there that said, I also like a frequent pegging.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, Kate, because Megan's fucking hairy in the ass. She says, you like my dick hairy. Yeah. She says words like Prince. That. Yeah.
You little bitch Prince.
You little ginge bitch Prince. Yeah.
Black American pussy.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Megan.
They get filthy because Americans are fine with it. They're like, but Kate's still a giggler. No, girl, strap it on. And I'm telling you, get a bigger size than that whore got so you can make him feel it.
Yeah, make it the size of, call it the jewel in the crown. Make it the size of India, which that family once stole from India. It is funny. I was saying this before. It's like, it isn't hard for me to believe from like a Freudian standpoint that, a member of the family that had, spent a good amount of time fucking the rest of the world in the butt, likes to get pegged by lady of the court every once in a while. So hey,
yeah, and the reason to do, and the thing too is like, let's not like, this also has a lot to do with the riff, and this is why I was like, I've got this story, I knew this story. Like the reason why Harry and Prince William aren't getting along is because the pegging. Everyone knows about the pegging, and he's all like, dude, you stepped out on my mom. Like, come on now, like,
yeah,
like that's like, let's not forget about. Are we forgetting about Diana? Like, come on. Don't forget about Diana.
I mean, I think it's like the 20th anniversary of her death or something like that too. 30th.
So now is the time to definitely not forget about Diana. Well, let's forget about Diana for a minute.
Enough about British politics.
Yeah. Let's move over here to the United States because listen, we had. I mean, I don't like to say it. I don't like to necessarily say words like this because they don't truly happen. But I think the Dems had a bit of a win when it came to some of the primary elections that happened this week, specifically. Kansas City voted not to amend their constitution.
Kansas State.
Kansas State. Sorry, I say city. Kansas State. That's more impressive.
Yeah.
Kansas, the whole state, voted against amending their constitution to make basically abortion all out banned. Which is this a light at the end of the tunnel for liberals and Democrats, Casey? Like, do you think that this is good for us after the Roe v. Wade bullshit?
It's certainly good for us. I don't know if
it's good for Kansas. That's for sure.
It's definitely good. It's good for women everywhere. Basically it shows that even in a deeply red state with some caveats, Kansas has a Democratic governor. Kansas was fucked up really hard by when they voted a bunch of hardcore conservatives in like 10 years ago and they ruined the state. And then so there was a backlash to it. It's not, like Idaho or Wyoming, but it still is fucking Kansas. And by 15 to 20 points, they voted to what they voted for was to not allow the legislature to be able to make rights on abortion. So like they have voted to keep their abortion laws intact, but there still are restrictions, but at least they're not allowing further restrictions to be made. And at this point we got to take the wins that we can get. But I think the big takeaway from it is there was a lot of fucking energy. There wasn't even a primary in that state. It was a referendum, a one vote referendum, and it turned out half of all Kansas voters. That shows you the type of energy that goes into people wanting to protect the rights of a woman to choose what the motherfuck they can do with their motherfucking body. And I'm really that was energizing to say the least.
Well, it's one of those things where it's like, I feel like we've been talking about it for almost 3 years now, where you wake up and it's just never good news. And like, this was a moment. Now, granted, in some primary elections, and I mean, like that quack job Arizona lady who's running for governor, I think. Is she running for governor or Senate?
A lot of quack jobs. There's Carrie Lake.
The old TV lady.
Yeah, she's running for governor.
Who's running for governor, who is like, hitched completely onto the saddle of Trump, like openly feeds his lies. Like I saw a CNN interview with her where she basically just takes the time to accuse the reporter of being in on the scheme to like for the stolen election, and it's like for me, and I guess it's just my like left-leaning brain, like I can't understand what people are watching that the fact that it is a lie has not infiltrated completely through. You know
Well,
what I mean?
but I think this is going to be with we're talking about the Republican primary voting base. This is not a rational group of what did Alec Jones call the jury? A bunch of blue collar people who don't live on this planet. He was talking about his jury during his defamation case. That's what I would call the base of the Republican primary voting machine, and especially in Arizona. So yeah, it's not shocking to me that even after the trials, they don't know anything about.
Well, because they always these people who lean in this way always have like fantastical things to like everything is Satan, everything is this, everything is that, and it's like here's what ultimately. Well, let's I mean, kind of switch it, because we were talking about the Alex Jones, and we're talking about like the election, and we're talking about like people, and we're talking about, you brought up that Democrats are in the news lately because they're playing a game, a tricky game when it comes to the election, the general election in November, which is they are backing financially some of these Trump fanatical lunatics. Financially, they're trying to back them so that way they win, because they think that their Democratic challenger can take it. And they're doing this in like tricky places like Michigan, where I think like the biggest gamble they're doing right now is Grand Rapids area.
Yeah.
Is their biggest gamble, because it is primarily voted conservative, but they think that this guy is such a nut job that they're going to be fine.
That's not fully true. It is a risk. Yeah, the Democrats, various Democratic groups, and some like specific like politicians even are using their money to support the wacko people in the primaries, so Dems have a better chance of winning. And in the Grand Rapids place, it is. They beat this guy Peter. I think his name is Major, but it's spelled like Meijar. I don't know. It's whatever. He's white. And he was one of the 10 to vote for Donald Trump's second impeachment after the January 6th insurrection. But that was a district that Biden had won by a ton of points. And so this isn't that risky. This person happens to be fucking insane, who now we're running against. But like, we gotta we can all agree the world is ending. So why are we mad at the Democrats for taking some shots to win some fucking points in a time? Because it's like, oh, if Peter Major wins, yeah, that's a better Republican, but it also allows the Republicans to then, like, the more numbers they have, the more vote. He votes with the Republicans 95% of the time. He just doesn't find Trump to be anything other than a creep. And
at this point.
But he's still a fucking member of a crazy cult. And so the Democrats need to start taking some risks.
Well, we need to start taking some risks on the mere fact that it's too close in the Senate. We don't have reliability in Manchin and Sinema on anything, which means our agenda is stalled. So, and it looks rough in the House. It looks like we could lose the House. That's probably going to happen. I don't like to say that. I don't like to say that because I think that there's still some time, but I don't know. But what I'm saying is we have to play hard at this point, because we need to get a bigger lead, is basically how we're going to be able to run this country, is if we can actually lead. Now, whether that happens or not, who fucking knows?
I just was like, I was riled up at this because I'm seeing a lot of people be like, the Democrats, like the New York Times had like an article that said the Democrats have stooped to a new moral low. by doing this, because all, out of one side of their mouth, they're saying there's never been a bigger threat to democracy than there is now. But on the other side, they're supporting these people who, and giving them a shot, because everything is so polarized these days that it's, left versus right. There's only two fucking options. And if one of those options is, a batshit crazy authoritarian, then yeah, that is nerve wracking. That being said,
and that is nerve wracking. I mean, we can't, but you can't throw that away that like that's not a concern, because we have Marjorie Taylor Greene. And the thing is, what we don't need more people in there that don't know how to do the job. Like I think that this whole like, and I hate Trump for it, was that whole like, we don't need a politician, we need a businessman. No, we need politicians.
I don't disagree with that, except for the fact that this has proven this has worked in the past.
Of course, yeah, on both sides. So it's
and the the New York Times has said something like they're making a mockery of the political system. No, the Democrats have been playing by the rules for the last fucking several decades, and we keep winning. We keep winning and then losing by technicalities and by the lack of fucking rule of law that exists in our political system. And Trump, Bannon, and Alec Jones have proved that even if there are rules, they're not enforceable. And if they're enforceable, they're going to be enforced years later through fucking litigation. And so I'm sorry that the Dems are going to start playing now. I hope the Dems start playing now by pushing the fucking rules and lowering the fucking bar, because if we don't, then we will continue to lose. So until there's rule of law that governs both sides and enforces the law on both sides equally, then there can't be just one side that plays by the rules and loses every motherfucking time.
But my frustration in it, well, honestly, we don't really lose all the time. We get the popular vote more often than not. We lose because of a setup system that's been set up and broken for years. I forgot my point again. So go ahead.
Right. No, but they use that, and then they gerrymandered, to further to exacerbate that fucking flaw in our system.
I guess my frustration is with this story in general is that they're painting it like it's something brand new. And it's absolutely not brand new. Like, this is not a new thing for either side. So it's just a sensational thing that they bring up to get people riled up. Is it a fucking gamble? Absolutely. Could it backfire? Yes, for sure. Would that be the end of democracy as we know it? Yeah. But listen, we already opened that door when we fucking let Bush take it from Gore. So let's just call it what it is. At this point, the rules of OG politics have been dead since then. So and we've never had the popular vote count. So let's just fingers crossed and not make this big, and don't come at the liberal politicians world and be like, your sense of morality. You elected a kitty fiddler. You know what I mean? It's like you guys cheat. Like he's like your deity's whole narrative is based on something that just is not true. So it's like, y'all are the liars. Y'all are the cheaters. This is not new politics. This is not new tactics. You just have nothing else to talk about because you have no real agenda or real plan to get this country in shape if you take over power again.
But it's all, the moral panic is, the right, they're devoid of any sort of, morality whatsoever. So I don't have much, I don't put much credence into their blowhardiness. But it's the people on the left who are saying, oh, no, we can't do this because this stoops to the level. And it's like, we can stand on our level as it's completely subsumed by the rising tides of, one, the oceans because of global warming, and two, authoritarianism because it's happening one way or another. This one guy in Grand Rapids is not going to be the fucking the thing that breaks the dam. That dam is fucking broken, and so maybe we have a better chance of having a Democrat in that seat without Peter Major. And even though he was, a quote unquote moderate, what does a moderate Republican mean anymore? And what does that fucking mean anymore?
Yeah, and honestly, these people who are like
Liz Cheney, she's still batshit crazy. She's just not a fucking idiot.
Yeah. It's just fucking, And the left side that is saying this shit, the left side that are saying these things are the ones who like are the problem. The ones who will probably not go out and vote. Those are the ones. It's like here's the thing. If you're gonna sit here and you're gonna naysay and you're gonna be like and not have confidence and like, listen, politics is a gamble. We do this every fucking 4 years. You know what I mean? And then every fucking 2 for the Senate and the House. So come on, this is what we do. This is the ride. And truth of the matter is, we've been losing, and we are the ones with the right message. So, like, and the fact that the right message is losing in a country full of people who are poor, stupid, and sick, like, that's wild.
And in other good news, it does look like Alex Jones is going to be held accountable for his fucking lies. And to put this into context with everything else, like, Alex Jones is a big reason that Trump is president, because he got so big on his conspiracies, and the conspiracies are what propelled Trump into power. And like, Alex Jones got to say whatever he wanted to for years. And like, I think to tie it with everything else, this is good news for American democracy, that these fucking batshit crazy liars, and I'm sorry to say batshit crazy again, because I take it back for Liz Cheney. She's just like wrong, but like Alex Jones is like evil and batshit. And yeah. And it looked like for a long time they were all just going to get away with it, but Bannon, Trump, and Alex Jones are all in the fucking crosshairs right now of justice. And this is just monetary justice for Jones.
There could be an indictment for Trump. I think there could be an indictment for Trump.
100%. Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
Like,
and this is all very good. Very good. Like, this week is like, we're killing terrorists again,
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, we're still, I mean, let's not forget the optics on that, because they killed al-Zawahiri with a fucking badass drone. Like, this drone shot out swords. Yeah. So could you just imagine the trauma that guy's family is going to be going through for the rest of their lives? Like, he was standing on the balcony and no one else was killed around him. Yeah. It was that. And so that happens. And then go over here to New Jersey, where you have the former president, twice impeached, disgraced Donald Trump, at that Saudi golf tournament, not too far from the where the 9/11 attacks happened, saying things like, well, we don't really know anything about 9/11 or what happened or who caused 9/11.
Wait, what?
You didn't hear that?
No, I didn't even hear that.
Yeah, girl. And he's like, but what I do know are there's some really nice Saudis here at this golf tournament.
I'll tell you which Saudis didn't run into the towers. These guys over here.
Guys, they're chums. So it's like, you were saying before we started recording, and then I do want to talk on something because we're running out of time. That like, he's got wins. Biden has some wins. Is he like you're saying, like they're wondering whether or not he was going to run or not in the next term? Like, let's focus on the stuff that he's doing now, because he is still doing it. I mean, it would be nice if he was able to go to Kentucky with his sick COVID ass and like, throw some paper towels at them so they'll like him. But what can you do?
We're not going to win Kentucky.
You never know. He could bring out the bounty. Trump was throwing cheap shit because they were Puerto Ricans and he's a racist. We'll bring out the bounty for Kentucky. All right. So before, we have about 6 minutes left, and we have to talk about the new girl on the block. And that is Miss Demi Lovato. Oh, no. That's right. She's back, everybody. The gal we always remembered, who drank too much and had a great time. That's right. That girl, the party girl, the wicked girl, Demi Lovato. She's back.
Okay, I'm going to let you run on this. What is she back for, Tony?
Well, she's officially using she, her again. Now, let's not forget, not that long ago, when she wasn't checking out aliens, she came out as non-binary and became a they them. So, but now, she has put back on her social media. I think it's like they, them, she, her now.
Yeah.
And her reason being is because she's just feeling more feminine now. So therefore, I'm a girl. And I think that I think that the reason that this is bad,
Okay.
and the reason why it's like the pronoun force feeding of everyone get it right, and if you get my pronouns wrong, you're wrong, and I'm going to cuss you out. I'm going to catch you on social media, and I'm going to cancel you. So you have prominent people like her, Demi Lovato, who starts this journey, who's influential, who is like, probably a good role model for a lot of non-binary or gender fluid children. And then now it's just like, okay, but now I feel like a girl, so I'm going to put this back. And it's like, I don't know. It sends a really mixed message because, my whole thing with the NBs and like, especially putting them under the trans label in our letter line is that a lot of the transgender people that I know want to make the changes to fit into that gender that they want to be. And this just kind of reinforces that, it can go either way. And so I don't know. It just seems like I have a friend who has a kid who's like young. I don't know, like probably like third grade, maybe, who recently came out to him, and I'm thinking is gay, but has a lot of things about pronouns right now. And like, what do they want to be called? Like what? And it's like, listen, honey, if you're coming out as gay, first and foremost, that's going to be a thing that you're going to have to deal with first. You know what I mean? And I don't know. It's like, but if gender is someone's journey to deal with, or I feel like this on off switch of it, I don't know, it seems irresponsible to me.
But I think the problem is that there are a lot of issues wrapped up into just this one thing, and the only joke that I will make on it is I guess those pronouns were cool for the summer. Not anymore. But the thing is like it's a couple of things. First of all, like if non-binary people, from my understanding, it is the gender is much more fluid, and as a result, this is perfectly acceptable pronoun behavior within the non-binary community, and I think as a result, I'm here to respect that. The issue, as always, that I take is, like you were saying, like the policing and all that. So every non-binary friend of mine that I have is not like that in the real world. It's the Twitter social media universe in which it becomes a thing. And so, reacting to that, which is definitely real, whether it's right or not, but it's definitely a real thing, and it has an effect. And so, like, we pay attention to it for a reason. But like, I don't I think, I don't know how like defensive Demi was about her pronouns in the past and all that, but I don't want to shit on her for just doing her journey, but agreed that if to pull back, like, trans identity and non-binary identity are different, and so then we need more understanding of we need more understanding of all of that, but we need more understanding of the differences, and so people don't get mad at, so we know who to be mad at. So like, pick your, we need better groups, so we know who to not lump others in when we have questions.
And my thing is I will she her boots, I will they them her boots, I will fucking call you whatever like you want to be called. I've always said this, I will always say that whatever you want to do, I'll blur whatever line you want to blur. But when we put trans and non-binary people under the same umbrella, it is those people, like, who do we need to be mad at? Those people that we need to be mad at are sitting there being like, oh, all those trans people don't even know what they want to be. They don't know they're going to be a he or a she or a he, right. She. And you know what? Like, stop putting that on the transsexuals. Like that is not something that transsexual people should have to fucking deal with. They're dealing with their fucking own journey to try to fit within a binary. So like, it's like, I'll call you what you want, but your battle from the outsides, like you're like people who are like, that needs to be your battle. I don't think that that needs to be put on them. Do you understand what I mean?
I understand what you mean, but I think because it still comes across. It doesn't. Here's what I think is like, you know, trans hasn't been defined. Was the future of gender identity, and then all of a sudden something ran out ahead of it. And that's the way that progress works. And we always need those people at the vanguard pushing things forward beyond our conception of what we understand, because that's how we get to a different type of understanding. But when people get so far ahead into that reality that that's the only reality that they exist in, when everyone else is still in the present trying to hash this out, that's when it's easy to attack those people who are pushing forward so fast and live in
but I just don't know that the non-binary community needed to be. I don't think that it's so revolutionary that they need to be pushed forward. You know,
no,
what I mean?
but I mean, it's like the thinking. You know, you always want to have big forward thinking ideas, and even if it's messy, of course it's going to be messy, but when it becomes like, you know, even in like the debate about gender care with young people, we don't know the answers on that fully.
No, we don't.
And I'm not discrediting it, no. But there are, you know, it's only, you know, we don't have long-term major data on all of this.
You're right.
And as a result of that, it's messy, and there has to be room for things to be wrong.
But
you know?
This Demi Lovato non-binary back and forth will affect a transsexual person negatively, guaranteed. It will.
No, 100%.
This will, and therein lies the problem. Because listen,
that's fair.
That is a non-binary person's cross to carry. The people who want to blur the binary and make it a gray matter, that kind of like people's backlash to Demi Lovato is theirs. And I hate to say that, but as a minority group, we all have the people who hate us. And so like, but because you want to be lumped under T, that is going to people who have made the decision on what they want to represent, the gender they want to live at. They're going to get that backlash. Someone's going to be like, "Oh, you're all wishy-washy. Oh, you're going to change your mind." And listen, there is detransitioning. I know about that. I'm not saying that people who make the decision choose it forever, but I'm saying that that's one less thing that a transsexual person needs to take on their shoulders, in my opinion.
Agreed. And two things. One, as I've said in the past, every time Demi Lovato speaks publicly, the Democrats' numbers go down on whatever happens. It just seems to be the case. And the other thing is, you know, and it's like a weirdly scary thing to talk about, but it's like, you know, if there are trans kids, then there are also non-binary kids. And if we are treating all kids with gender, I don't know the right terms for it, but all kids who are questioning their gender as trans, then that's going to become a major problem too. Because if half of those kids or some of those kids are just non-binary and different, then as a 6-year-old, they don't get it. They don't figure it out. If Demi hasn't figured it out, how's a 6-year-old going to figure it out? And
Absolutely.
I'm not
That's
saying,
not a read.
I'm not saying stop it. I'm just saying like these are the questions that are coming up, and not being vociferously against this. I'm saying let's work harder to figure these things out, so we do have more trans people and more pop stars. You know.
And with that, we have solved all the world's problems and world peace, and everyone is well fed. Casey, we've come to the end of the show. Do you want to tell people, I mean, you're you're doing stuff. You're jet setting. Do you want to tell
Yeah,
people?
but none of it's like super great fun comedy stuff. So,
Oh yeah.
but I will be in Europe August 29th through September 13th.
Barcelona.
If anyone wants to hang out or hang out with me or let me stay in your place, I don't know. That'd be weird but cool. I'm fun and I
Don't
can
use this
cook.
show for that.
Hey, it's inflation. It's affecting us everywhere. So anyway, yeah, you find me.
He wants that European pox.
KCWL. I'll have I'll be fully vaccinated by then. I'll have 2 shots by the time I go to Europe. Can't get me, Spain, which is the #1 monkeypox getting place in the world right now. So I
mean, if you want it with an accent. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You anyway, my social media is Casey. Just Google me, Casey Lai, Lay. Find me.
He's very famous, everybody. Shout out to is it Lola77 from Twitter?
Yeah.
Who said that we got them through the pandemic. Well, we're glad you came out on the other side and for listening. I mean, you could have just left a comment on our iTunes page, Lola, but who are we to make requests every goddamn week?
Maybe they have.
But well, who knows? I haven't seen it, but listen, we would like you to very much find our iTunes page, subscribe to it, rate the show, leave a comment. And if you do, we'll shout you out. We've got nothing better going on here. I am sure I have stuff going on. It is just beyond me to think of it at this point. So just follow me on Instagram or Twitter at The Tony Soto Show. And we'll be back again next week with, well, more of this. Bye. We did it. Hold on. We got to stop. Don't say a word. We're not giving YouTube anything else.